Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today, we are on day 4, session 1 of Network Sciences DeepTech Innovation Week. Very proud to say that we have successfully completed 3 days of a total of 10 sessions till now. And they've been very appreciated in terms of innovation, differentiation of solutions that we brought on the table. Very excited about today because we will be covering sales tech and HR tech in today's session. Before we get started, a quick overview of what we are working on today. Fabulous. So today we have 3 presentations, 3 sessions lined up. The first one is on key account management platform from DemandFarm. I have 2 senior executives from the company. But before I hand it over to them, just want to quickly set the context of what are we trying to solve as a problem here. So if you look at, of course, account management, we are basically targeting in this session, it is B2B sales, B2B account management is what we're targeting at this point in time. And whether it is B2B or B2C, by the way, we all know that selling is hard, right? This itself is the biggest problem that most of the people in sales face, that of course they realize very fast that it is quite hard. Customers, clients are very hard to get to. Of course, there is a lot of conversation around should it be value selling, should it be concept selling. There is a whole lot of aspect around sales that every salesperson has to deal with. Now, however, there are 2 more issues that have started coming in recently. Number one is that in the recent survey, and when I'm using the word recent, it is still 5 years back, right? And this becomes more and more apparent as we go into the field during these days as well, that most of our customers today are already more knowledgeable about what they need before they actually can contact the first supplier that they want to connect, they want to have the discussions with. Now, this itself is a biggest problem that the sales team faces, that the customers knows already what they want, and now they're being called in the 57% percentage of the process. Now, while you're dealing with this problem, the another problem that most companies face today is that the purchase likelihood has started to drop, primarily because the number of people who are involved in making the purchase decision is quite large. And the more people who are involved, the lesser likelihood of purchase happening. Today, the statistics show that there are 5.4 average number of buyers in every purchase decision that is made. 5.4 people, which means 57% process is done. The sales team gets in. Now they have to win over 5.4 people on an average for every deal to happen, irrespective of the size of the deal, by the way. And that is the biggest problem, in our opinion, that people face, which is it's difficult for the sales team to identify, to engage, and convert in their favor all of these 5.4 client members. Now, this is, of course, the problem now that every sales team faces. How is this that we could solve this problem? What is one way? I mean, I'm sure there are many ways, but what is that one way, scientific way that account management, key account management, personal sales team members can do to solve such a problem? And to speak about it and demonstrate the platform, I'm very glad to introduce Abhijit and Pawan to the group today. Abhijit is the co-founder and the chief strategy officer at DemandFarm. Serial entrepreneur, understands this business extremely well, has built this platform, which is solving the problem and a lot more for many, many organizations globally. And of course, Pawan, he heads sales for DemandFarm, extremely analytical, process-driven, innovative. I'm very happy to introduce both of them to the audience. Let's hear what they have to they have to, how they are solving this problem that we just spoke, and a lot more that they have to offer. Abhijit, Pawan, over to you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you very much for your kind words. Pawan, can you just pull up the... Thank you very much, everyone, for being on this session with us at DemandFarm. I'm going to be giving you a quick overview about DemandFarm as an organization, and then we'll deep dive into the product post that. To set the context, traditionally CRMs have been very effective when it comes to opportunity management. And then you had marketing automation platforms, which have become pretty much mainstream when it comes to lead management. Of course, I'm sure you're all aware that over the past decade, there's been a huge explosion with regards to MarTech and sales tech products. Each of them have played their own role in the opportunity management, lead management space. Most recently being the account-based marketing solutions that are basically focused on helping organizations run targeted omni-channel marketing programs towards named accounts. What we felt is that the strategic account management space actually did not get the necessary attention from a digitization standpoint. And the reasons for that could be many. I think one of the primary reasons that I feel is that account management or account-based sales has predominantly been relationship selling. And of course, it will continue to do so. We don't dispute that. But as Sandy mentioned, there have been a significant amount of changes in the B2B sales process. So sales is a lot more data-driven today. Again, like Sandy touched upon, the number of people involved in a decision-making process at the customer end are a lot more than they were earlier. And the need to institutionalize account management processes from the perspective of bringing in scalability and better governance has never been more acute than it is today. And that's where DemandFarm comes in. So, we essentially help you build account plans inside your CRM, which means they are living, breathing documents that you can access, you can refer, and you can modify at the click of a button. We also help you capture the qualitative aspects of the relationships you have within your key accounts inside your CRM, thereby helping you convert the tacit knowledge that resides with your individual account managers into enterprise memory. The challenges that you typically face when it comes to key account management are, as I already mentioned, traditional CRMs were never equipped to facilitate account planning. There is, by and large, no single source of truth for data around your key accounts. Execution continues to happen offline in the form of PowerPoint and Excel sheets, which means that there's a huge amount of manual effort, intervention required when it comes to aggregating data and putting together the kind of reports and insights that would help account managers and leaders take the necessary decisions. Last but not the least, while there's been a lot that's happened and spoken about in the ABM space, I think there's still a gray area in terms of connecting ABM with account-based sales, and which is where DemandFarm comes in. To tell you a little more about DemandFarm, we've been, or can you just move to the next slide, please? Thanks. We've been in the digital account planning space since 2016. We've been recognized by the likes of Gartner as one of the key players in the digital account planning category. In fact, way back when we started in 2016 and maybe even earlier, we were in stealth mode for a couple of years. Digital account planning was more a concept. Nobody really thought about it as a platform that could help you make your plans inside your CRM. And there were a couple of players in the market who essentially came from the sales coaching background and also had proprietary tools that they promoted as a part of the package. But from a productized approach, I think DemandFarm was the first company that actually took that path. And we continue to be one of the most mature players from a product standpoint in this category. We have more than 150 plus customers globally with 15,000 plus users. And this would be spread across enterprise customers, mid-market, and the SMB space. 2,500 plus strategic accounts being managed and grown on DemandFarm, and the numbers continue to increase by the day.
Time for question and answer. I think we are getting a few questions and other questions. Obviously good ones, as we have seen over the last 3 days. Very, very knowledgeable audience, and they are very involved in understanding, in quick time, what do you, a few things about your platform. We've got 7 questions at this point in time. We may not be able to carry all 7, and hence it is our commitment to the audience that if there is any question that gets unanswered, goes unanswered, or we have to share more details, the DemandFarm team will definitely share it in a written format to all of you at a later point in time. Let me quickly take a few questions for you, Abhijit and Pawan. The first is, of course, there is a reaction saying that the tool looks good and impressive. So the question is, on the regular CRM, on top of the regular CRM, like a Salesforce or HubSpot or custom build, what is it that you offer? What value does the client get? So does the existing CRM suffices, or this is significant value over and above the CRM?
Sure, I'll take that. So, one of the reasons why we actually came up with the idea of a digital account planning tool like DemandFarm was because CRMs don't actually suffice when it comes to account planning or relationship mapping or white space analysis. If you, as you would have gone through the demo, you would have seen that there's a whole lot of things that DemandFarm offers, which your traditional CRMs don't offer today. As I started here, the presentation with, I think CRMs are extremely good at opportunity management. But when it comes to beyond that, you do need a digital account planning solution like DemandFarm, which helps you to internalize your account plans, which helps you to create those relationship maps and the org charts. Almost a lot of what DemandFarm does, there's practically no overlap. It's just complementing with what your traditional CRMs do. So unless you go and actually customize your CRM to the extent that it becomes a completely different animal, an off-the-shelf CRM will practically not be able to support account management as a practice.
Fair enough. Thank you, Abhijit. There are a couple of questions. I'm going to combine them. Obviously, it's a very comprehensive platform. Looks all the modules which a large account manager would definitely need for its effectiveness. But would you think that this platform is only for the large enterprises, large teams, or also for SMEs or for startups as well?
Sure. So, and you're right. I think this tool is very comprehensive, and to that extent, what we've done is we actually have two versions of the account planner. We have what we call the account planner enterprise, which is the full hog, and then we have a lighter version of that called the account planner pro, which is essentially meant for mid-market and SMB customers. The pro doesn't give that in-depth level of analytics or in-depth level of reporting, but it does suffice for an organization that has just embarked. And it allows you to create those plans. You still get access to the org chart, and there's a whole lot of stuff you can do. Now, for startups, in theory, DemandFarm is relevant to any organization that sells into complex B2B scenario, right? So you have organizations that have multi-location, multiple buying centers, multiple people involved in the decision-making process. DemandFarm would fit in there. But you're right. I mean, typically for a startup, the entire planning suite might not be relevant. It might be an overkill depending on the maturity of your sales team and their processes. But we also offer the org chart as a standalone product. So what we recommend is that you start with the org chart because there's enough value in that itself in terms of actually being able to capture the qualitative aspects of the relationships you have there. And then as you mature, you can, plug in the account planner very easily to start building your plans inside your CRM.
Fabulous, Abhijit. Quick question on client case studies, success stories. We've got audience from US, Europe, and India. So would you like to give us a quick idea in terms of your clients and the any tangible benefits the clients have been able to drive using your platform?
Sure. So, I'll start with this, Pawan. Please jump in when required. Sure. So, if you just go back like a couple of years or 3 years back, I believe selling DemandFarm or any solution like DemandFarm was still very difficult. It was still a concept sale, and people would love what we have to offer, and they'd come back and say that, hey, this is great, but this is not something we budgeted for. We're not sure whether we need this. Today, the situation has turned dramatically, right? I mean, when a customer comes to us today, they actually say, hey, do you guys have an org chart? Do you have something that maps out the communication, the interactions that we have? And they go into absolute level of detail with regards to what the account planning solution should do. which essentially means that what used to be a good to have has now become a necessity. And we've seen that primarily, in the last 3 months, we've had, three very large enterprise deals that we've cracked. So we recently signed up with Slalom Consulting for more than 2,000 users. We signed up with Zebra Technologies for 1,500 users. We signed up with Capita for another, I think, 600-700 users. So, we are seeing that the size of the deals is going up. We are seeing that the customer is far more informed, and they know exactly what they're looking for. So the velocity in terms of the market looking for something like this is definitely getting better. I just want to add one thing before I wrap up this question. So you have to look at digital account planning as a journey. It's not a one-stop solution. I did see a question in terms of adoption. How easy is it for users to adopt? I think it depends on how mature your team is. It depends on how strong your leadership is. It depends on how whether you conduct your reviews in DemandFarm itself. So as you review, you get better quality data. You get more people using it. But you have to look at this as a journey. If you start today, I think, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I think by 2025, digital account planning is going to become as mainstream as CRMs and marketing automation platforms. If you don't start today, 2 years down the line, you're going to be behind the curve. So the adoption is not necessarily very easy, but we've tried to make it as simple. We've tried to pull data from multiple sources, so it's more a and the other aspects, it's going to get better and better.
Sure. I'm going to take a last question, considering the time that we have right now. The last question: is it a standalone? Can it work standalone, or it has to work with the Salesforce only?
So we do have a standalone version, which is like a monolithic product, which was actually designed to work standalone. So we have one very large customer in the form of Mu Sigma that uses DemandFarm as a standalone product. It does not integrate into any CRM. So yes, it can be used as standalone as well.
Sure. And a follow-up question on that: what is the inputs that are required directly within DemandFarm for it to be a lot more effective? So is it two-way communication between the CRM and DemandFarm? Is it only within DemandFarm? How does it really work?
So it is. Pawan, you want to take that?
Yeah, I was thinking I'll take this one.
Sure.
We've seen, see, one of the other problems we've seen organizations always struggling with is the data integrity inside the CRM. I've never met a sales leader who says, I'm happy with the adoption of a CRM. And having a tool like this, which integrates with your CRMs, also increases the integrity of data inside your CRMs. That means a tool which consumes information from your CRM and updates it back would help not only the account managers visualize a lot of inputs that are already fed to the system, but also increase the quality of data that resides inside the CRM platform. So yes, I mean, it's at the end of the day, the client's decision to what extent do they want it. If it's a standalone, Salesforce is bi-directional anyways.